Amnesia by CaramelSwirls. Chapter 5. Questioning with 1,525 words. I kept running around the forest until I bumped head first into Pinkie Pie. Yes, finally someone I can trust. I panted. "Hi, Pinkie." "Are you okay?" Pinkie asked. "No, I was in the forest and found Applejack on the ground. She needs help immediately," I urged. Applejack wasn't the culprit. She just trusted the wrong pony. And if she was saved, she could tell me who did this to her. I needed her to survive. I needed answers. Pinkie and I ran to get Applejack and brought her back to Twilight's house. Twilight used her impressive magic to produce another bed and bandaged up Applejack. "Is she going to be okay?" I asked. "I don't know. She's in a coma right now from a slash to her gut. If it wasn't for you, she would have died back there. You saved her life. You should be very proud of yourself," Twilight said as I chuckled at the irony. Twilight patted me on the head. "You and Pinkie Pie should head back to her house and just relax. A lot has happened today. You two need rest." I nodded my head, put my arm around the sobbing Pinkie, and walked the both of us back home. When we got to Pinkie's house, she collapsed on the floor in tears. The scenery was just too much for her. In the short time we were gone, someone decided to smash all the windows. I ran inside to see if any other damage was done. All over the walls, in what I presumed to be Rainbow Dash's blood, it said, "You're next, CaramelSwirls." CaramelSwirls? Who is that? Is that me? I flashed back once more. I remembered the days before my cocoa skin was covered in scars and my emerald eyes shined through. I remembered being patted on the head by that pony in the lab coat and hearing him say over and over, "Good job, CaramelSwirls." I remembered my admiration for him. I remember following his every command. Flashbacks always made me dizzy, and the sight of her blood made me sick. I needed to lie down. I slowly walked into my room and made my way to my bed. I lifted the covers and lied down into my nice, cozy bed. I closed my eyes and got comfortable, when suddenly I felt something. I opened my eyes, confused, and screamed. I fell onto the floor and sprinted out of the room. She's sick. She's truly, truly sick. I can't believe it. I threw up on the floor and broke out in tears. She put Rainbow Dash's rotting corpse into my bed. Kinda reminds me of that scene from The Godfather. She not only killed her, but she ripped off her face and put her corpse into my bed. It's actually kind of fucked. That sick and twisted fiend. I went outside to go console Pinkie. I opened the door, and head flew into my hands. I screamed and threw it on the ground, only to see her body on the ground and cut up into many different pieces. How could you? And once again, I found her paper. "I knew you only saved Applejack to find out who I am. I know what you're doing. I warned you. I promise it won't get any better from here." "No. She wants Applejack dead." "Twilight!" I sprinted towards Twilight's house as fast as totally possible. I didn't even bother knocking when I got there. I just slammed the door open wide and ran straight up to Twilight's room. "Swirls, are you okay? What happened?" Twilight said, half in a panic, just from looking at me. I hugged her joyously. "Oh my gosh, you're safe!" I was so relieved. She couldn't be the culprit if she was here by Applejack's side all along, especially if Applejack was still alive. I began crying tears of joy at the sight of her and explained everything that's happened these past few days and why I was so happy to see her alive. She gasped and couldn't believe what happened. "Twilight, there's only two people who could have done this, Fluttershy or Rarity. I have to find out which one it was. I'm going to talk to them, okay? Lock your doors and don't let anyone in for any reason, okay?" I asked with sincere concern for once. As I got ready to leave, I remembered one more thing. "Oh, and Twilight, be careful if Applejack wakes up. This pony injected her with some kind of drug. I don't know if she'll behave erratically when she wakes up." At the sound of the word injection, Applejack's body convulsed, like it sparked something in her. I ran to her side and probed her. "Applejack? Applejack, are you there? Who did this to you?" "The sun. All I remember was the sun was gone," Applejack struggled to say. "The sun was gone?" What does that mean? Applejack? Applejack? I shook her profusely, yet she went quiet once more. Damn it! I pounded my fist against the table, tears welling up in my eyes once more. Twilight ran to her aid. Don't worry, she's not lost yet, just unconscious. Go find this horrid killer, Twilight said, pushing me away. I decided to pay Fluttershy a visit first, considering Rarity lived closer to Twilight, and if it had been her, she wouldn't know if I was still at Twilight's house or not. I walked up to the door and knocked. Hello? Oh, hi, Swirls. How are you? The shy pony asked. I'm fine. Mind if I come in? I heard you were close to Rainbow Dash, and I wanted to make sure you were okay, I told her. She stepped aside to let me in, and I took a long look at the inside of this pony's house. The lighting was dim, almost non-existent. She had animals everywhere, a few boxes that could have been filled with anything, and the most suspicious thing was a knife on her counter, what appeared to be a red liquid on it. I checked Applejack's remarks, and I clearly saw the sun outside the window. Would you like something to drink? She hospitably offered. I shook my head. No, thank you. So, how are you taking everything? I know it must be hard. Yes, it is quite difficult for me to deal with everything going on right now. I can't stop crying, she said with a sniffle. But I can't let my animals suffer because of that. Oh, so was that who you're making dinner for? I see the knife on the counter, I keenly observed. Yes, actually. I was cutting up some tomatoes for a salad. Would you like some? She offered. The idea of it made me sick. On the offset, it wasn't tomatoes she was cutting. I politely declined her offer. Well, I just wanted to make sure you were okay. Please stay safe. And if you need anything, let me know, okay? I want to be here for you, I lied. She thanked me for the offer and walked me to the door. There was no way she could get into Twilight's house without passing me by, so I was pretty happy about that. I strolled to Rarity's house and knocked on her door. Why, hello, darling. What brings you here? Rarity asked. Well, I know you and Rainbow Dash were pretty close friends, so I just wanted to make sure you were okay. I mean, we got along pretty well the other day, and I was really worried about you, I said. Oh, how sweet. Come in, Rarity said. I took a look at her house, more in depth than the last time. Her lights were very bright, clothes were everywhere around the room, and I found boxes of needles and tubes that resembled disconnected injection needles. She could have easily poisoned Applejack. I made sure to look out the window, and I noticed I had a clear view of the sun. So, how have you been taking Rainbow Dash's death? I asked. It's been hard, darling. It really has. I miss her and her energy. Tears began forming in her eyes as well. I could see that. May I ask what all these needles and tubes are for, though? They're making me uneasy. I have a feel of needles. I lied. Oh, those silly things? Their needles are for my sewing and the tubes are for hair dye. I could move them if you'd like, she suggested. No, it's fine. I should be going soon. I just wanted to make sure you're okay, I said. I didn't trust her near those boxes. Those tubes didn't look like hair-dyeing tubes, and it's very easy to assemble the two together. She walked me to the door, and we said our farewells. It was still bright outside, and I could easily see the sun out the windows in their houses. So, what did Applejack mean, but there was no sun? I contemplated it for several minutes. Then I understood. I knew who did it. I raced to Twilight's house to make sure she was okay before acting on the culprit. Who is it? Why do we care? Chapter 6. The Final Encounter, with 1,430 words. I ran to Twilight's house and threw open the door. Twilight, it's me! Where are you? I called out to her. I got up to the room where Applejack was being taken care of, and blood was all over the walls. No! She couldn't have! I gasped and slowly walked into the room, dreading what I would see. Applejack was a bright red color, and there was a hole in her chest. Her organs were popped out and spread all over the room. It almost looked as if she had been boiled alive from the inside and her body just exploded. I fell on the ground and broke down crying. How? How could I have let this happen? That fiend! Wait. I looked around and noticed something was missing. Twilight! Where could she be? I frantically began searching for Twilight, shouting her name. Swirls? Is Is that you? I heard a meek voice ask. Twilight? Yes, yes, I'm here. Where are you? I called back. I heard a noise, like something falling over, and I ran towards it. It seemed she had hid in the closet, and I threw open the door, draping my arms around Twilight. She was shaking profusely in fear. Where is Spike? I just noticed I can't find Spike at all. Did she hurt you? I asked. No, I haven't even seen her. I heard something at the door, and I wanted to save Applejack. I did, but there was no time. So I hid. Swirls, I'm such a bad friend. How could I let her go like that? Twilight broke down crying. Shh, it's okay, Twilight. I know who did this. And she knows I know. Otherwise she wouldn't have done this. I'm sorry I put you into danger like this, but I promise you something. I will go after her and make her suffer for this. Don't worry. I will. I told her while petting her mane. Is this gonna get kinky? Who? Who did this? Please tell me, Twilight begged. I'm sorry, but I can't. I can't put you at more risk. I promise, when I return I'll tell you. When you're all safe, you'll know. I told her. And on that note, I got up and out of the closet. I needed everything and anything I could get to help fight her. I grabbed a few knives from the kitchen and padded my jacket with pillows to soften any blows. He wouldn't barely be able to move. Sadly, that was all I could find, so I had to be off. I headed towards her house, and when I got there, the lights appeared to be off, as if no one was home. I quietly checked the doorknob to see if it was unlocked. To my luck, it was. I slowly opened the door and cautiously walking inside. I held a knife out for my protection. I began walking through each room, searching to no avail. Bzzzt! Huh? I quickly threw my head over my shoulder and collapsed on the floor. I slowly opened my eyes to see a foreign room. There were maces, guillotines, and torture chambers of all like everywhere. I tried to move, yet I found my hooves chained to a wall. So, Caramel, did you finally remember your dearest sister, or perhaps you just saw through my lies? The sick and twisted pony said. No, sis, or should I say, Fluttershy! I just used my wits to decipher it. Applejack said there was no sun. She mistook the lights in your house for the sun. Your lights were too dim for her distorted memory to register. It had to be you, I said. Oh, posh. I'm glad I killed that worthless pony then. Fluttershy said, toying with a nail and staring me down as if she had found the idea of a nail delicious. So why? Why are you doing all this? I thought you loved your friends, I said. My friends? Ha! I promised you revenge. God damn it, Caramel. You were always so infuriating. I never got to have fun. I never got to win. I always had to live in your shadow. Tears started welling up in her eyes. I will get my revenge. You will suffer. Why can't you remember why you deserve to suffer? She began frantically screaming at me and gripped her knife tightly. Why won't you remember? She began stabbing my arm multiple times. Can you feel that? Does it hurt? I began screaming profusely. Flutter, please. If you tell me what happened, maybe I'll remember. Oh, you better. I have enough torture devices here to entertain me for weeks, she replied. She took out a syringe filled with a green liquid. Does this look familiar? You injected me with this to test the effects. It'll kill you slowly and painfully. It's designed to make you feel pain like no other. Your organs begin to shut down one by one as slowly as possible, and it makes sure the important ones are last to elongate your life. Your blood will feel like it's on fire as it boils you alive. Eventually, you'll explode and your organs will pop out like with your friend Applejack. She never really had a chance after I injected her. You knew that, though. Do you remember injecting me with this, even after you knew what its intended effects were? Do you remember why you did it? I began squirming, looking for an escape from her as fear encompassed every fiber of my being. I screamed for her not to, but she only got closer and closer. I looked at her face, It had a red tint to it. She stuck the needle in my arm and injected the liquid into me. I felt it flow throughout my veins at breathtaking speeds. I screamed in massive pain as I heard her laugh at my torment. I remember doing this to you. I remember a man congratulating me for it. I was in tears trying to tell her what she wanted to hear. Of course he did. Father always loved you best. You were his pet, his star child. He wanted you to inject me as part of his lab experiment. The cruel man! That drug you injected me with really screwed with my brain. I never thought I had a taste for blood before it. So therefore, Father's death was his own fault. He wanted me to have the drug that made me kill him. Too bad you escaped with a notebook as I was slitting his throat. Fluttershy said, "Oh well, after I found you and knocked you out, I stole them. How else you think I was able to make this bad boy?" Fluttershy said, shaking around the needle. She broke out into maniacal laughter once more. Fluttershy rapidly began stabbing my other arm as I squirmed and screamed. After some time, I stopped squirming. "Sis, please, stop!" I begged and begged for her to stop. "I'm sorry. I'm truly, truly sorry." My sister laughed at my pain and suffering. Yet again, I could see the redness glowing in her face, yet she wouldn't stop stabbing me. She let go of the knife in my arm and went on a tirade of how jealous she was of my relationship with our father. I tried moving my left arm and it seemed to slip out of the chain. My sister noticed and waited to see my next move. I grabbed the knife and pulled it out of my arm. "You're gonna try and stab me? Oh, how cute. Too bad you'll never be able to succeed." Fluttershy laughed once more. I took the knife and stabbed myself in the stomach as hard as I could. Fluttershy stopped mid-laugh. "Huh?" "I refuse to suffer. I refuse to let you kill me," I said. Fluttershy began itching herself everywhere, as I felt the fix of feelings whirl inside me. I felt my blood curdling as it seeped out of me, and I began feeling my first organ shut down on me. Fluttershy laughed as I started to bleed out. The world began growing dark for one last time. As I fell onto the ground, I heard her maniacal laughter, followed by an explosion. I hit the ground and felt something slimy fall on my back. The laughter was gone as I heard a clunk. As so it ended. The laughter ended, and silence encompassed me for eternity. There's no fucking point then. There was no fucking point to the entire story at all. Literally nothing. Absolutely no fucking point.